Welcome,
Good.
everyone, to the Live Connection Podcast number 68, I believe. Here with me today, I have Peter in the bottom there, and then I have Jack beside me.
Hello.
How are you guys doing today?
I figured
Great
out
being-
how to get the lighting to work. I just have to sit in total darkness, and I guess that's better than actually having the room illuminated.
I have a very similar issue. Like, this is the only lamp, the one right above my desk, that can like light up here. That lamp on my fan light does nothing. It makes everything 10 times worse. If I open this window, I have, like, even with it closed, I have a beam of light coming into my face. So I'm like Jack, where it's like I need to like close
That's
everything,
too dark now.
and then it will
So I have
work.
to have it. I have to like backlight myself a little bit with the void, the light void in the background.
I almost was tempted to get a desk to put myself like next to my other desk, so I could like have the window facing me. That way, I could use the Windows light to just basically light up my area. But
Yeah, that's what Eric does.
Yeah.
and it looks good.
Yeah. Once I moved into my house, it's probably I'm gonna have to have one of those e-girl setups where I've got the ring light in front of me, and the rest of the room is dark except for like whatever Christmas lights and.
Well, I find like all these
Stuff like
cameras,
that.
like no matter how good quality the camera is, none of them are good in low light. They all are just like poo when you're doing any kind of low light stuff. Because I was looking
lighting.
online and I was like, hey, what are some of the best like streaming cameras, right? Because we do a lot of streaming, so I was like, well, maybe I'll get a good one instead of like getting like a mid-tier good one. And the one that I got, which is the same one you have, Peter, which is that Logitech 1080p one. I think you have the same one. That's like rated one of the best ones for streaming, just because it picks up everything nicely, and it has the different settings for like wide lens and narrow lens. And I'm like, but then when we look in like our setting, or when I'm looking at myself in my picture here, it's like a little bit fuzzy, and it's just because the lighting's not good. But it's like, I don't have anything I can really fix that with. You have all our live connection lighting, so you get the
too aggressive lighting that's overpowers.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's some cool stuff that was in the news today. So I mean, everyone's kind of talked about that xCloud service that Microsoft's coming out with, where you can game on your phone, like game your console games on your phone, which is really cool because I mean that makes basically Xbox games mobile. So you're no longer just stuck. Okay, I want to play my game. Let's play at home. They're kind of making that competition bridge with the Switch. And I mean, their controller looked okay. Like, they have the one where you can just have it off a normal Xbox controller and just play like that, and they have the one where you can hold it kind of like the Switch does. But they recently just announced that they are now making it touchscreen compatible for a few of their games. So now you don't even have to have the remote with you. You can actually just play on your phone or play on your tablet wherever you are at the time. Obviously, as long as you have connection to a Wi-Fi or data. But I thought that was really neat. Like, I feel like they're just constantly adding to the service that is making it more appealing to more people, because now they're basically making Microsoft a mobile and stay-at-home service is essentially what they're doing, and I think that's a great idea. They're dipping into different areas and making it so it's like, okay, if you buy the Xbox console, you're not only getting the console and the new games and stuff, but you're getting the potential to everything you buy has the potential to play on your phone while you're just out and about, or play on a tablet while you're out and about. And I think that is a phenomenal idea. It's almost like they're trying to tackle a bunch of niches that weren't really being addressed by the major consoles, besides obviously Nintendo. But Nintendo's always been known for their consoles mobility and everything, right? Like, they never were just a stay-at-home company. They've always had their mobile service, essentially.
They've always got some innovation or another.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's really neat. I think it's smart on Microsoft, because I don't think anymore, because of where the technology is and where companies are, I don't think you can anymore just go console versus console. It's what else comes with your console. Because, I mean, when you look at the specs of the two consoles, they're virtually identical. Like, they put emphasis in different areas, but the end result is they both can perform at this extraordinarily high level to make games look beautiful and run beautifully. So I think this is where it starts to come down to, and you don't really see Sony doing a lot of that I know of, because I mean, their one attempt at mobile was when they did their the PSP, right? And I had a PSP when I was younger, not the Vita one, but the original one they had. And it was fun. Like, I don't know, it was nice. You get to play some of those AAA titles on your mobile, but they haven't really addressed anything outside of we are just this console and we bring Netflix and YouTube to you immediately. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Sony's putting all their eggs in one basket with doing what they know works, making a powerful console and making great games that work specifically for that console. I think they're kind of banking on that, and they'll make their money. I'm not worried about
no, both companies are going to sell their consoles like no one's business. Like, both of them immediately, like, they literally were like, oh, pre-orders are released, and both consoles immediately were sold out of pre-orders. So there's definitely not a lack of demand for new generation, right? Like,
certainly not.
Doesn't even matter. Both companies will be just fine making their money back for their console. But I just feel like it's nice that Microsoft is like, oh, we're like giving you something extra. Like, you're not just getting consoles. And I think with their purchasing of companies recently, and I mean, I think they were still trying to. I think there was like I forget where it was, like at the beginning of the week. I saw a little thread where it's like Microsoft was in talks with Ubisoft even to acquire them. And I don't know if it actually went anywhere. I think it might have just been a rumor about them being in talks with it. But I think they're trying to address, again, putting multiple eggs in their basket instead of just doing just one, right? Like, it's like they're trying to address, okay, we need to have better quality games because last generation, it's not even a competition. PlayStation definitely had the best AAA exclusives across the board. But now we're going to try to do that, but also try to give you guys something else for being a part of our service. So I don't know. I think it's smart on their part. I like how they're just trying to like try a few different things. But yeah, I know Sony's going to not have an issue selling their console because it is, I mean, based on what it can do, it's phenomenal. And regardless of whether you're a PC gamer or not, it's like PCs are kind of tailored to what you want them to be tailored towards. Like, you can have a PC that's totally tailored towards gaming, and that's great. But when you get a console, that's what it's made for, right? Like, it's made for nothing else but gaming, right? And I guess watching movies, but I mean, that's not really what it's made for. It just can do that because it has a disk drive. But I don't know. I think it's nice. That adds a little bit more for me to get it. Because now it's like, oh, I can actually do stuff outside of just sitting in my room or something. I can take it with me where I'm going. And I know I've never been like, I mean, I have a Switch, and the amount of times that I play my Switch is pretty null, right? Like, I play it for the odd games here and there, which I would like to get more into it, but I never find, like, if I'm sitting at home, I never find I want to just like sit there on a small screen. And I don't find with the Joy-Cons it works very well. Like, I guess it's the Joy-Con drift you guys are talking about, but when you put it in the controller, eventually things just like start to desync when it's not attached to the console and you're sitting and watching it on a big screen. Like, I had it happen with Pokemon Sword and Shield, where when I was docked in there and I was watching on this TV and I was playing with the Joy-Cons on the controller, because I got the controller mount for it, where you just slide them in and use them like that. Eventually things just started to not work very well. Like, the riding your bike around wouldn't respond very well and shit like that. So I don't know. I have a hard time just like using a small screen if I have an opportunity to use a larger screen when I'm at home, right?
Here's a question. If the Xbox mobile gaming thing takes off, do you think we're going to see a bunch of people with like those like phone mounts on their Xbox controllers, like playing on the bus or on the plane? I think
I'd say you're more likely to see the other controller, the one where it's like the Switch, where it's side by side. I think you're more likely to see that style than you are.
You think so?
Than the Xbox controller one.
I don't know. I can see the controller being more popular.
Could you?
I don't know.
Because you're always carrying your phone with you. If you're walking around places with like a shoulder bag or a purse or a backpack, then you always have enough room to carry an Xbox controller and the mounting docket. Then it's easy enough to have like a pair of AirPods or whatever headphones that you want, and that way you can connect to Xbox Live just over your cellular data or whatever Wi-Fi is available to you. You can game with the boys with your AirPods in, connected to your phone. You don't need to buy like anything else. It's just a controller, a docking mount, and your phone. I think in the next couple, I think it might be like selfie sticks, where you saw everyone in public had selfie sticks for a while, and then they might disappear for forever.
It depends how much they put into it. It depends like the quality of it, right? Like, because it is running on your phone, so I mean, you got to play with that quality as well.
Well, it's not even running off your phone though. It's like Stadia, where it's all in the cloud.
So
all the processing is done on the cloud.
Oh shit! I didn't even really think about that. Okay,
that's why the internet source is so key. Because if you don't have good internet, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah, right. But I mean now, it depends how much it's going to take. Like if you're on data, for example, like if you're on a bus, right? How much of your data, like how much of a data pig is this going to be for you when you're riding around? Like, is this going to take up excessive amounts of data? Because then you're going to turn a lot of people away from it. Because I mean, even for like, it's expensive when you start getting into the big plans that are like unlimited datas or things like that. Like you're paying for it. So it's like, am I willing to pay that extra bit to cover the ability to game? Or are they doing it in a way that it's taking minimal data to play because you're not really, like you're just connecting to the cloud, right? You're not really, are they using it as like processing that information?
I will say Canada is certainly not there yet.
Yeah.
But as the future progresses, we are getting more, public infrastructure that is based on, having Wi-Fi available. I think probably in the next, 5 years, decade, you're probably going to always have internet available to you and high quality internet.
Well, they're talking about
5G
that. I was gonna say, yeah, because
prominent.
They just put in I think they put in their first 3 towers in the US, like I think big zones in the US, and they're testing it out. And then they're like, I was watching it on Global, and they were talking about it, and they were like, yeah, they put up these ones. And the guy who was talking about, like, because I guess he works for one of the companies that is utilizing putting up these towers, or not utilizing, but he's doing the infrastructure for these towers. He was saying it's like it's not going to be there like now. Like you're not all of a sudden everything's 5G. He said it's going to take time because these towers require more power than the current. What am I looking for? Data towers or
LTE.
Cell towers or whatever. So I mean, I agree with you, Jack. Like that's a fair point. Like because they said 5G is almost is an intense game changer compared to even LTE, which LTE when it came out was already a big jump. Because I mean, anytime now, it's funny when your phones, because when you go and you look at your phone, because it'll adjust, right? Like what's available to it. So it'll switch down to 4G or it'll switch down to 3G. And anytime you're in 4G, I'm just like, this is the slowest shit ever. What is wrong? And that used to be like the gold standard.
I'd rather not have a phone than have to go back to like 3G.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like, waiting is worse than not having access to something.
Yeah, because at least you're not getting your hopes up. As soon as you see data, anytime I see data and it's like, oh, you have data and it's 4G, I'm like, well, I might as well not try because it's not gonna load. It's gonna fucking take forever. But yeah, no, they are talking about 5G, and it sounds like that's a huge game changer for it, because they were talking about they wanted to get it up and going here because they're doing I guess NASA was talking about they're working with Bell to basically have that connection between when they do their moon-based landings they're trying to do there. They're trying to make it so they can have that quick connection between the two. And they want to utilize 5G. So if that's the power of 5G, that's pretty impressive, right? To have they're trying to make it, from what I was reading on the article from when I was looking at NASA's website, they were basically trying to make it so it's like instant, as quick as you would if I was to call Peter right now, right? I could just text or call Peter, and it'd be the same thing as if Peter was on the moon and I was texting and calling Peter on the moon. So that's pretty powerful for just like an everyday use kind of technology, right? That's pretty crazy to me.
It's strange to think, but I think pretty soon, I mean, maybe not pretty soon, but next couple of years, we are going to see that switch to 5G, because I've known some people who gone on vacation in Mexico, and I guess Mexico has a pretty good cellular infrastructure, at least maybe in the tourist hotspots, and apparently 5G is abundant down there, and people are it is a game changer apparently. So
well, every time they up it, it's crazy. I mean, you look at the internet providers, right? Like they keep going from I mean, it was, if you said like a couple of years ago, you're like, yeah, we're gonna have gigabyte upload or download speeds and shit like that. That's crazy, because you look at games like if you truly can, like right now there's still struggles, because I know like even Ron has gigabyte Shaw internet, right? But he never like, for whatever reason, I still have better internet than he does, which shouldn't be, because I'm Shaw 600 and he's Shaw like 1 gigabyte fiber. So I know they're still having issues with it, but once they like get that down, that's pretty huge. Because I mean, games are, you could have a game that's 125 gigabytes and it takes literally 125 seconds to download, right? If you can, if you get a really good switch and get it going. So I don't know. I like the way they're going. Like it's interesting, because we're now in that time period where it's like before it would take like a century to do a big upgrade, and now it's like every decade we're getting something massively different that's improving on what we have already, right? Which is crazy. It's so cool to watch.
It is. It's a crazy time to be alive. Technology has advanced more in the past 100 years than it did in the previous 1,000.
Yeah, it is.
And we get to be we're alive at a weird time where we get to see all of that happen.
Oh man.
We didn't see the invention of the car, but we saw pretty much everything that came after.
Yep. Well, shit, it's
weird.
like we've gone through so many generations of phones. Like we had the back to the flip phones and everything, and then we had the slide phones, and then we moved up from there to touch, like the original touchscreen phones, which were these like dense bricks. Yeah. And it was just, and now we have these phones that can pretty much run just as good as your computer can for searching up shit, and it's so accessible. Like everything is just so accessible to us now. It's crazy.
I went from having a slide phone to a touch screen in the span of like 3 years. It's crazy.
Oh man, we still have
that same technology in the early 90s. It would have been a massive brick to a slightly smaller brick.
Yep.
I did nothing but send and receive phone calls.
I looked upstairs, because we have like a drawer that has like a bunch of old phones and stuff in it, that because before they actually had that trade-in stuff, you would just keep your old stuff, right, as soon as you're done with it. So we still have like the old Motorola Razr flip phone. We have the Nokia flip phone. We have the Nokia one that you like push up and then you can like type on the keyboard that's underneath. And it's that phone. It still ran. I turned it on the other day, and that Motorola Razr still fucking runs. That thing's like 20 years or older than that, probably like 25 years old, and it is just boogieing along. Still got its good brick breaker game on it. That's the important part.
That's important. Good job, Motorola.
I think it's interesting that now, like, some companies are now developing flip phones again, like with today's technology, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest, like this is super vulnerable, right? Like if you drop it, you have a whole glass screen that's just waiting to crack. Whereas like your Razr phones and stuff like that, your flip phones, you could basically run those things over with a car and you'd be fine. Like it was indestructible.
But is that because they were bricks?
No, the Razrs were thin.
Were they?
The flip phone Razrs are just as thin as this phone is. But like I remember that phone, if you dropped it, it was like, oh no, I dropped my phone. This phone, if I drop it and it lands face down, I'm like, I don't want to pick it up. Someone else pick it up and tell me what the result is. So I mean, it is a protection thing, right? Like if they can bring it back but have this kind of technology on it, it'd be cool. But I mean, how long until you have
sometimes your phone spontaneously combusts and you're
you're
running around your university with battery acid leaking down your leg.
Yeah, that was an event. Never get lithium poisoning, friends. They're not kidding. It is not a fun time.
I really thought they were kidding. They're all trying to keep us from having this great experience.
Well, the government is out there to stop us from having fun. Oh man.
That's what all the kids are doing.
Yeah. I mean, talking about some new stuff coming out. the Dark, it's the, when we did Until Dawn, and then they had the Curse, was it
The
Curse of
ship
Medan?
game.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
Curse of
Curse of
Medan or
Medan.
something. They have another one coming out this week, actually. They're coming out with their Little Hope game. So it's another butterfly effect choice-based I think it's multi-perspective as well. I know we really enjoyed Until Dawn. The ship one was hit and miss with us. It wasn't as good as Until Dawn.
It was so short. I couldn't
It was-
believe how short it was.
Yeah.
Like,
I was definitely disappointed by the length.
Because we finished it in one
understand,
sitting, didn't we? We beat it in one sitting.
we went back and did a second playthrough of it with me because you guys did it on stream the first time without me, and then we had time to do it a second time. And we made some changes, but like it didn't really make a difference. I don't think.
Yeah.
And I understand that they're doing the anthology thing where they're releasing a bunch of these games for the Dark Pictures game or whatever. I think do you only buy it once and then you get the updates?
Each one is a separate purchase.
So it's like buying a book, essentially.
game.
Wow. Yeah, that's Until Dawn was like such a weird success and so weirdly good. Like,
I'd love to go back and do that one again with you now that we have like better like equipment to do it with, and our editing skills have gotten better. It'd be nice to go back and do another playthrough of that with the Live Connection crew.
I agree.
But I brought this one up because I was like, it might be because I mean they're kind of timing you with that Halloween release, right? Like they're like, here's October 30th, here's the next installment, play it on the 31st kind of thing. I think I don't know. I enjoyed the ship one again, like you said, Jack. It was just so short. Like it felt like you just got into it, and then as soon as you started, all of a sudden everything just started escalating. Whereas like Until Dawn, you had that suspense build up until like midway, and then all of a sudden everything started going sideways.
Well, it gave you time to care about the characters and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you're making the decisions for all the characters, or in our case, everyone was making their own decisions based on what they wanted to do. And that really added a cool weight to it. And we recorded it all in one day. Took us like 12 hours. We got there early in the morning to record it in Eric's basement. We had our old setup with the snowball microphones. We had to sync everything.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Lost like 4 hours into the footage got corrupted, and we lost like 40 minutes of content or whatever. But it was so much fun. Just all of us in Eric's basement. Evan and I were down from that weekend from Edmonton. We drove down together. It was it's such a great memory of mine.
I think it would be a great one to do right now. Like I think because we've all been so isolated, it'd be such a good time just to get all of us to be in one spot and just do a big recording of it again or a stream of it.
We could do, if no one's busy on Halloween, we could do it on Halloween. It's a Saturday.
I could do it during the day. I know I'm spending the evening for sure with Bobby. We're gonna do a spoopy movie marathon.
Ooh,
right.
Spoopy.
Yeah. We've been watching Blind Manor, which has been sick. But yeah, no, I'd be down to do it on then, or even do it like make the Sunday the whole day. Like I don't do much on the Sundays, so it's like we could even do it then. Either one.
That's something we could talk about. Something we could talk about. Would we want to get Evan and Matt in on that?
I think it wouldn't hurt to have another few people.
At least toss them an invite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a great idea because it was such a fun time and we had such a blast. It was shitty. It wasn't my character. Who was out first, and it was out like pretty early in the game, so they were basically just.
Oh well, it was Eric got the short straw, and we gave him the characters that have the least amount of screen time.
Oh, okay.
Because he had Jessica and Rami Malek's character, whose name I can't remember right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who turns out to be one of the bad guys. So both of them have very little gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric spent a lot of the day not playing.
Okay.
I mean, we drew names out of a hat. So
yeah.
Like Peter, you got
I got Mike.
Dude you got Mike, so you played like 50% of the game. and Evan got Chris, but a lot of Chris's segment got cut out because of the corruption.
Which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was such a shitty thing. That was back when we were using the Elgatos we tried to get for cheap off of Kijiji, and they just basically shit the bed.
Mm-hmm. But it is what it is.
No, it'd be exciting to play those games again because those are fun. Like it's always funny because whenever you see that butterfly effect thing come up on the screen and you're just like, fuck, what did I do? Well, who did I ruin? And then the Matt scene, it was hilarious because you guys all saw what he had to do. Everyone except for Matt saw exactly what he had to do, but we were playing it so that you couldn't, they were playing their character, so they had to do what they wanted. Yeah. And all he had to do...
we were just looking at each other, like, because he got the totem that tells him what to do as well, and he just didn't do it. He wasn't thorough enough.
No, and then I died. I died because of that.
Yeah.
It was a sad
No
day.
hesitation in killing Matt.
No. That was funny. Everyone had a vendetta for it.
It's just a prank, bro. Oh, man. That's so good.
Yeah.
Because we recorded it in, like, late November, I think, and when we started releasing episodes, it was January, and I got a bunch of them queued up because I was still doing all the scheduling back then. So I watched them so many times, and then the episodes that hadn't come out yet, because you guys are still doing the like taking turns editing thing. So like so everyone edited a few episodes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Oh, so many good moments. But I was in Austria that January, so I remember like watching them in my hotel room, just like, oh, I love this so much. It was on my phone, like, oh, what's happening next? And oh, just such good memories with that. I wish I could say the same thing about Man of Medan.
Yeah, that one just wasn't. It didn't hold up to the Until Dawn. I feel like it's tough though when you have a game like that was so well done, so well produced, and then you have a game that it wasn't bad. Again, it just everything happened so fast. Like here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end. You're done. Good work. Congratulations.
And the twists fall flat. All of the like, stuff where it's like you've been kidnapped by pirates doesn't matter at all, really.
Yeah,
and it's like they set up the atmosphere really well in the beginning, like, ooh, spooky ship, and then it's like it turns out to be like there's a scientific explanation for it or something like that. It's like there's chemicals on this old ship that make you hallucinate or something. I don't remember.
It was something like that.
It was along those
really
lines.
Lame.
Well, because they made it like, here's these coffins, and they were like, ooh, spooky coffins, ghosts, ooh, and then it was just like they were just seeping out, a chemical or something from the. It was like a necrotic chemical or something that impacted your brain. No, I'd be good to do that.
Drayden played like the Iceman character in Man of Medan, and he just like he managed to escape at the beginning, then like didn't play at all the rest of the playthrough.
He got on the boat and escaped, and went and got the Navy.
Oh yeah, because then he was laughing because he came back. He's like, "I'm here."
But I think everyone else died.
Yeah,
all died on the ship.
Oh man, no, it'd be good. I mean, it'd be nice to start doing some podcasts in person too. Get the Sunday morning crew over there to do them because I like these are great, like these online ones, but it's always better when you have that in person and you can kind of just then Peter can utilize his TV and bring shit up so we can actually look at it and all that kind of stuff. Because I
get more technical difficulties.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's just better for everyone in the end.
Yeah,
but. I mean, we got the couch over there, so we haven't been using it.
True.
So might as well use it. I was gonna say, with all the stores closing down for like furniture stores, it might not be a bad time to start looking at how much it would cost to do like a smaller 2-person over there as well. Just because, you have so many home outfitters that are like just home building stores that are closing down, so it'd be good to see what they got. But yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting how things go. Like what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the new gaming. I'm excited to see with the new potential what they have access to, what the companies can do with it. I hope that this Little Hope one is actually like a great installment. Like I'd rather it be like a big suspense build up almost the entire time, just so you're always like concerned about what you're doing. instead of doing like again what they did with this one, where it was they basically blew the story almost immediately. They were just like, oh, here you go.
Like, if you're gonna do like something like Man of Medan where it was smaller like that, they almost should have done it in like a Telltale style, where like you buy like the $80 pass and you get like 2 or 3 of these small experiences.
Yeah, or at least give you that option, right? Like at least be like, okay, you're supporting us early, then here's a slight discount on the whole thing, just because you guys are buying all 3 of them automatically. So it's, I don't know. It would be nice, I agree, to do something like that, because it's a series. It's like when they do game passes for, season passes for games, and then it's like, oh, here's all this DLC. Like a good example is, I think Civilization actually did it. One of the best ones that I know of is they basically did their Frontier Pass, and you got a ton of content with it. Like it's basically what they've done is like, you pay for the Frontier Pass, we're just going to keep coming out with stuff and you get access to this like right away. And they'll introduce new civs, they'll introduce new game modes. They introduced an apocalypse game mode. They introduced these cool thing where you can have orders. So you have like different orders that are like secret societies that you can found by finding barbarian villages or finding encampments, just regular villages. And it's really cool. They add pretty interesting bonuses to it. Like they have a vampire one, which is really cool, a vampire cult one. They have basically an order that's like kind of the an economic superpower, but they work in the back, so you get a bunch of economic bonuses to your entire civilization. It's really cool. Like, I don't know, I think that's a good way to do it. I think that's one of the best ways to do it.
This is a Halloween event for Civilization?
No, it's just a Frontier Pass, so it's their DLC. So when Peter was talking about buying it once and then you get a whole bunch of stuff with it, I think Civ did that, one of the best of that I've seen, where it's like I think the Frontier Pass costs like $40 or $50, and then you get like a ton of stuff. Like it used to be before, where it's like every Civilization DLC was like $50-$60, because they do put quite a bit into it when they make new add-ons. But it was really cool to see that they basically were like, you know what, we're going to reward our fans, and we're going to do this one thing, and you get a whole ton of content with it. Like I haven't even had a chance to utilize all the content, and I play that game I'd say like at least once or twice, at least once a week, I'd turn it on to play my Civ that I'm doing. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like that's where they should have definitely gone with it, Peter, is they should have like, okay, pay for it, support us now. You can buy, like, if you don't support us now, have like a time frame. It's like, okay, before the games come out, you can buy this pass and you get all 3 of them or all 4 of them or how many they're planning on making. And then if you don't buy it before it comes out, then then you have to pay for each individual one, because they got to, they have to add some sort of incentive.
Options.
Yeah. So I think that would have been a great idea for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes me concerned for the Dark Pictures Anthology, or whatever the fucking name of that thing is, because like if they do that with the first installment, where they kind of bungle the story and kind of do it in a suboptimal way, it makes me think they're just going to do it for every episode that they release, And I dislike it when horror kind of pulls the red herring, where it's like, oh, it's supernatural, but there's actually scientific reasons for it, type deal. And I think Until Dawn did it in a really interesting way, where the red herring is a really good payoff, because you find out that Josh is doing his prank where he's in the clown mask and fucking with his friends, but then there's also the actual supernatural elements of the Wendigos, which you don't really see coming. You kind of get tastes of it through foreshadowing and stuff that's happening, but when you actually find out, oh, there is a threat on this mountain, it's done really, really well.
They almost disguise the actual plot using a
exactly.
Yeah, they're basically like, oh, just kidding, it's not actually there, and then boom, all of a sudden you have new stuff that's like, oh shit, that wasn't you.
Exactly. I really hate it. Horror movies are really bad about doing stuff like that. I wish that horror movies stuck to their guns more. It's like either it's supernatural or it's not supernatural. Don't try and pull the wool over my eyes.
That's
a really bad one is The Witch from 18-4 Studios, where it's like really great movie, beautiful, but at the ending, like, because they're setting it up in such a way where it's the Puritan background and all of this like paranoia around the devil and stuff like that. And I was thinking as I was watching it, it's just their paranoia that's causing all these bad things to happen. There's not actually the devil in the woods. That's actually a really good story element. And then at the very end, the teenage girl walks off to join the cult. And I'm like, oh, it actually was the devil the whole time. I wasn't smart for figuring it out.
See, to me, that's why I've started to realize that a lot of the horror genre that I like is more that gothic horror genre, where it's like it's more suspense based. It's more like we're not going to directly show you what's happening, but we're going to hint towards things. Like you got to really pay attention, like things in the background. It just makes you feel uneasy, and I feel like that's the best horror movies, because then you really get into it and you're actually like, oh shit, if they do a jump scare here and there, it actually is impactful. It's not just cheap. They don't just throw it at you.
For sure.
So I think that's more. I wish, and that's where I found Until Dawn was more like, where it wasn't like it was kind of that constant build up. Like even after they unveiled that Josh's prank, it still was building up, and it's just like it's like they gave you that slight, it's okay, this is nothing's happening, it's just a prank, and then it's like boom. So I think that's where more like those horror genres are, to me, truly where horror should be, not just cheap, here, take this jump scare, take it, consume it.
Totally.
Or like I've totally gone bored of horror movies because I feel like they're all the same, and a lot of them just don't do it well enough to keep me engaged. So it's kind of made me just turn them all away.
Well,
other than like the few good ones like that you hear about.
Yeah, and it's shitty because you have sometimes they'll do great first installments. So like, and I know it's not like everyone's cup of tea, but it was really neat watching when they first brought out the first Paranormal Activity, because it was such a different horror movie. Like there wasn't really something that had been done like that, where it's a stationary cameras and you're paying attention to the room. It was kind of building up again that suspense. Every single Paranormal Activity after number 1 was just absolute shit. Like it was just cheap. They were just like, here, I think it was Paranormal Activity 2 where they literally had nothing happen for the entire movie. Like the entire thing, and at the very end they had it was like the house erupted into nothing, and it was just like you could totally see it coming, and it was just cheap. But I feel like they get almost they find something that works one time and then they just like milk it, and they're just like, let's get whatever we can get out of it.
Eat it. Yeah.
It's kind of why for me the Blair Witch Project is still one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Not a single jump scare in it, but they keep building and building and building to this climactic moment that never comes, and you're expecting something and you're on edge for so long. At the very end, they finally go into the house and you're like, what's going to happen in here? And then the movie just ends in the basement, and like I was expecting a jump scare of some kind, never came. The movie's like almost 2 hours long.
Yeah,
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
I was laughing. I like the one though. Like it's there. I kind of chuckled when they show the witch like once or twice, like brief glimpses of her in the house. And the one scene, if you actually look at what she's doing, she's got her arms like this, and she's like coming over towards the guy in the corner. And I was laughing pretty good, that one. But yeah, no, that one did a great job of suspense. Like when she was in the tunnel underneath the house and she's like digging through the mud there, I was like, fuck that. I would not. If I was like shimmying through that tunnel, where do you know that's going? You don't know that's going anywhere. I would have rather just fucking sit there and beat on the frickin' floorboard. But yeah, no, that
totally.
That one, they did a good job on that one. I agree.
And I know that you're watching Bly Manor right now, Jarrod, so I won't spoil anything, but they do a really good job of setting up the atmosphere as well and emphasizing sort of that building suspense as opposed to just here's some cheap jump scares. And Haunting of Hill House did a good job as well. I think overall Haunting of Hill House might have had a slightly more a story that didn't fall flat at the end. Bly Manor is really good. I think I might have liked it more than Hill House, but more for like performances by characters as well as building that atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about it before, but in literature, there's actually a difference between horror and terror. Terror is kind of that slow build of like you're expecting something to happen and really getting to to the edge of something and not knowing what's going to happen. And then horror is kind of the payoff where that's your jump scares and the sudden realization that something is wrong that comes and goes really quickly. Yep. So to me, terror is much more effective. That's like what H.P. Lovecraft's works are based on. You guys know I like H.P. Lovecraft.
Yep.
We play Call of Cthulhu, so that's a game that's kind of trying to build on that suspense and that mystery a little bit. So to me, that's effective horror. When it's in my mind, jump scares are just like whatever.
Well, that's kind of why the first Paranormal Activity did so well, because it worked on that terror thing, right? Like you couldn't do anything, you were fixed, and you couldn't you were there. Like you had to watch what was happening. They'd hint towards things. They did the right amount at the right amount of times. And then, eventually, shit starts really going sideways. Like, there's that one scene. It's still... I remember watching it the first time I watched Paranormal Activity. That scene where she gets fucking dragged out of bed down the hallway.
Yeah.
That was just... That unsettled me. Because if I couldn't see what was dragging me down a hallway towards another room, at that point... Jesus, take the wheel. I'm fucking done. This is the end of me. I give up. You win. You've succeeded. I can't overcome this.
That actually kind of segues a little bit into the personal story I was going to tell today.
Perfect.
So this morning at 8:00, I'm awoken by the burglar alarm in my house going off.
Oh.
And I don't set the burglar alarm here in the house because it's useless. I'm pretty sure my dad installed it so his home insurance would be slightly lower, basically. And because, why not, right?
Yeah.
So we barely use the thing. But when my dad's not around, his girlfriend sets the alarm. So this morning, I'm awoken by the burglar alarm. I'm like, what is going on? I think there's probably maybe a bird hit a window or something like that, or my dog tripped one of the sensors somehow by, I don't know, slamming a door or something like that. That's not really how those things work, but you never know. I come up and I'm like, what is going on? And I just stay in bed because I think maybe Catherine forgot to turn it off before opening a door and going outside, but it's not turning off. I'm like, okay, I've got to go upstairs. So in my underwear, I run upstairs and there's a guy in the foyer of my house. And it turns out it was my brother's friend Jarrod. My brother told him to go to the house to get some stuff since he lives in BC and my brother lives in BC. So he was like, yeah, could you go grab these things for me, basically? And my brother didn't tell us. My brother's friend didn't tell us. And he tripped the alarm. And I run upstairs in my underwear. I see a guy in full jacket and snow pants. It's dark because the lights aren't on. So I'm like, all right, I'm about to fight a home invader. I whip around the corner.
Roll initiation.
Yeah, it is. I roll initiative. I didn't even hesitate. I'm like, there's a guy in the mudroom of my house. I'm going to murder him. So I've been fighting for a kickboxer for over a decade. I'm like, I guess this is what I trained for. And Jared's like, no, Jack, it's just me. I'm like, oh my God, I could have knocked you out, dude. And then for some reason, the burglar alarm in my mudroom wasn't working, so I had to go to my dad's room and turn it off there. And the best part about this, Catherine never even heard the alarm.
Wow.
She's the one who sets the alarm to be safe when my dad's not around.
And she didn't even hear it.
Yeah.
She didn't hear it because she sleeps at the other end of the house when my dad's not around, so she can sleep in one of the guest rooms with her cat.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she didn't even hear the alarm.
That's insane. I mean, I say that's insane. First off, Jack, that's fucking, yeah. That'd be one of those, fight or flight moments where you're like, oh, fuck, I actually have to do something. Because, I mean, how many of us do that, right? You hear something happen, you're like, oh, God, I gotta go deal with this quickly. Or, we're almost so laid back about that kind of stuff. You never think it would actually happen.
Oh, yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
I've always thought that in fight or flight situations, I always thought I was more of like a flight kind of person. But with that, and like remember last summer when the fires were going on and that guy had the stroke or whatever in the car outside of Peter's
right,
house,
yeah.
and we thought he was drunk or something, and I ran into the street and opened up his car, and I was ready to like murder the guy.
That was a crazy day. That was very crazy.
I guess I actually do things. I guess I have a penchant for heroism.
Unknown trait.
No, that was I almost forgot about that day. That was a crazy day.
Yeah.
Shit, I remember that.
Just ran out into the street in my socks.
I remember we were all flabbergasted that the cop was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna ride passenger and you can drive." After he just literally had a seizure in front of you.
The other way around. Didn't the cop drive?
No. He like stayed inside his vehicle and the cop got in the passenger side.
I thought the cop drove and he got in the passenger seat of his vehicle.
Oh, maybe he did.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy day like that. Like we were all kind of standing there watching this guy like drive around, but the truck, you know what? That I still say that day that truck did the best thing where he's like, you know what? I'm a big vehicle. Your little car is gonna do like nothing to me going that speed. Yeah. So he just let him hit him just to stop the car. And that was awesome. Like I applaud that guy for just being like, you know what? We'll take this. We can deal with this.
It's still so funny to me because my instinct was to open the guy's door to beat the shit out of him. But once I saw that he was like seized up and not in control, I was like, Jarrod, we need you. That was the end of it. The truck driver got out and actually did more. He put the e-brake on and turned the guy's car off and was like, in hindsight, I probably should have done that once I saw that this guy wasn't a threat. But I was just there to kick his ass.
Yeah, I know. No fight. What do I do?
Jack's penchant for heroism or vigilante of the streets. Oh, that's funny. Oh man, yeah, no, that was crazy. Talking about crazy things, we're not hearing the alarms and stuff like that. I think I've told you guys this, but there was one day that we had our carbon monoxide alarm go off inside our house, and my dad had to run down and wake me up because I was sleeping through the alarm, the carbon monoxide alarm, and we have one like right outside my door. Like it is sitting there. I sleep with my door open, and it was just like I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, this is nice background noise as I gnaw off to sleep over here." So I've realized that apparently I need someone to help me wake up. So no, it's it's crazy. I forgot about that day. That was an interesting day. That was a weird recording session. Lots happened, and then we had to go back down and do recording because what were we doing that day?
I don't remember what we're doing, but that's what I was trying to think of. Like, were we taking a break? Was everyone leaving?
I'm pretty sure we were taking a break. I don't think everyone was leaving. Yeah. I think we were doing one of our longer recording sessions, and we decided, okay, let's go take a break outside and walk around for a bit, and then we
just so happened.
Yeah. What a weird.
So weird because I like heard the tires screeching like blocks away and like someone screaming, and then it got closer and was like, what is going on? So I like yelled to the woman that was in the street trying to stop the guy, and she's like, I think that guy's drunk. I was like, all right, so this man has chosen death. I remember it was so weird because like the car went up on that like
on that hill
on the other side of the street from you, Peter, and was like out of control. I was like, yeah, this guy's on drugs or something. There's no way that.
Well, that was all of our first thoughts. Like we were like, oh shit, here we go. But I mean, it still was good that he was going so slow. Like regardless, it was good. It probably started when he was at a street light or something, and he went to accelerate, and it must have just happened. But no, that was I mean, it was scary for him. That would have been horrifying for him because it's not that he can't see what's happening. He's just can't control his body whatsoever, right? So that'd be horrifying because you're literally just sitting there going, I can do absolutely nothing about this. I wonder if he was scared when you ripped open the door and you're like, hey, buddy!
Do you remember what I said?
I don't remember.
It was like, get the fuck out of the car!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something along those lines.
What I said was, I opened the car, I was like, you're fucking done. I like motioned with my thumb over top of my shoulder, and then I saw he was like At first, I thought he was like going for a weapon or something, but no, he was just seized up. I was like, that was when I called for Jarrod. I was like, I needed backup.
Oh man. Yeah, there is that. I remember that one guy. It was like when I was helping the guy comes over and he's like, "We got to do this." I just took my first aid. I was like, when a guy's seizing, you just need to make sure he can't hurt himself. Like you don't want to do anything because those muscle contractions. If someone hits you with like a full maximal contraction of a muscle, it is like damaging. They were showing in my one biomechanics lab. We were doing tendon and strength, right? So. They basically what they do there is they'll get like a material that is identical to the matrix of like a tendon that you can utilize to show like the proper elastic properties and strength properties, and they basically attached it to two ends of a metal bar, and when they caused an action potential to contract the muscle, which was they basically used a fake tendon to extend it to both ends, and then they used a muscle they used like I think it was a rat muscle to do it, and they had an action potential. The bar bent as soon as it maximally contracted, so it's like that's amazing that your bones are strong enough to withstand forces like that, but it's crazy to think like if you get hit by someone doing a full maximal contraction, that's gonna hurt. Like I don't care who you are, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, because you can't actually like do that just with your brain.
Normally,
can you?
you
Your body won't allow you to do that.
Yeah, because it's dangerous because it damages the muscle. Like tendon, like that's why it'll cause tendon ruptures, right? Because your tendon's basically like, okay, I can handle about 80% of you, and then after that, you're pretty much toast. Your body has reflex arcs that protect you from that. So like when you hit they do like the knee jerk test, and it causes your knee to flex and stuff. It's a protection mechanism because there's an immense amount of force hitting the tendon. So the tendon's like, oh, flex, let's get rid of this, stop it, because it tries to like stop you from damaging your tendons. So your body has basically safeguards against that. But when you're having a seizure, your body can't communicate with the motor neurons, so your body's all over the place when you're having a seizure. It's which is why they always say it's like, okay, just make sure there's nothing around them they can hurt themselves with, and then you just got to let it run its course. And unless the paramedics are there, because obviously they have more training with how to deal with it in other situations. But yeah, no, but that guy came in, he's like, I did first aid, let me get in there. And I was just like, for fuck's sakes. People. But no,
Was that
the
guy driving the truck that did?
Because it was the guy just driving the truck. And then I was like, dude, you gotta give him space, because I was like, you're gonna get hurt. He literally like was on top of the guy having a seizure, trying to pull the e-brake, and I was like, you're gonna hurt yourself. Like the first thing they teach you in any kind of first aid situation is you gotta protect yourself so you can help the other person. But sometimes it was. I mean, it was just a weird day. I feel like it was a weird day, but. No, it was interesting. It was interesting to see different responses. Yeah.
I left Peter's house that day. Like, I'm never going to tell anyone about this.
Now we're making it public.
And I did it. I didn't tell like anyone in my family. I think I told like a few friends. I think I eventually like mentioned it offhand to my family like months later. But it's like I don't want to talk about this. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah.
It was like I mean, that was not even the first thing that I thought of when we saw him driving. The first thing I was on par with Jack. I was like, this guy's drunk or he's on some drug or something. But no, it wasn't. Speaking of your house, Peter, I was driving by it last night because we were over at a friend's there down near Marta Loop area. And so we drive up 26th there to get to them. So I drove by your house. I think it was like 12 last night. And I said to Bobby, I was like, I should stop and just like start drawing things on Peter's car. So when he comes out and sees his car, it's got a bunch of shit all over it.
We've had like a couple different homeless people that have keep entering the yard and stuff. So I would have been like, the fucking homeless people are fucking with my car now.
Oh man, it's the same thing happened to Alex and Colton. They had like a homeless guy that was sleeping on their porch for the many days when they first moved in near Marta Loop there.
Ugly.
Oh man. Yeah, we're coming close to the end there, boys. We got maybe like a few more minutes. Enough time for one more topic. If you got anything little you guys want to bring up.
Peter, you said you had some stuff you wanted to talk about.
Pretty much, I saw earlier this week that they're doing a Pac-Man Battle Royale, and it was when I saw that headline, I was like, can we end Battle Royales now? Can we move on from that fad? That was my breaking point. I'm ready to just start the new chapter of gaming.
I am also done with battle royales. I feel like they're just everything's a battle royale, and it's like, okay, it's literally the same fucking game. You just have different characters,
different format.
Yeah, it's like, here you use these kinds of guns. Oh, but you can use this in this game, or you can use this as combat in this game. Yeah, I'm with you. It's getting really annoying that every single game has to do a battle royale, or they have to do something like that.
I assume the Pac-Man one is the same as like the Mario and the Tetris one.
Yeah,
where
that kind of
you're
idea.
facing off against like 100 other people, and as you do well in your game, you can use like power-ups and stuff to fuck with them. That makes sense.
I guess like it's an interesting concept, but it's just clearly leeching off the trend.
Yeah.
I was like, do something new, like do something different. People like they. I feel like gamers like when something's unique or it's changed or it challenges them. Whereas nowadays, it's just not.
Sure.
Like battle royales are just the same thing, different pot of tea. So you have basically the same people just moving from different battle royale to different battle royale. Like, I mean, they had a Fallout one, but I think it blew up in their face when they did it for 76. They've done enough with Warzone. I'd say Warzone is only successful, and I will always say only successful because Call of Duty has such a following behind it for people who constantly play that game. I think if it didn't have quite the following, I don't think it would bite as well.
Yeah, just because it's Call of Duty and free to play, that's all people need.
Yeah, because that's why Apex blew up, right? Is because it was free to play. Like, it launched free to play. So
yeah.
I feel like if you said to someone, okay, I'm gonna release a battle royale game, but you got to pay $80 for this game, I bet you wouldn't do good.
Well, even this Pac-Man one, it's like $20 US, and that's already like, why would I? No, thank you.
Yeah,
but it's so low effort for the developers because like Nintendo just released their like Mario one for like the 35th anniversary or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
that was.
Is it like for Mario Maker style?
It's like for the it looks like Mario Maker. It's a separate game.
Okay.
It's done in like the original Mario, like Super Mario style, like the old blocky graphics and all that. And then it's just you're going through like World 1-1, and as you rack up points and stuff like that, it messes with other people's screens. It looks dramatically easier than like other battle royales that I've seen.
So they essentially made it they brought the esport version of playing like Mario or those platformer games to a battle royale. Essentially, they're like
kind of
because when at least that's how they used to do it. Whereas like you just base it on score and it'd be a competition to who could get enough levels done or who could get this many done.
Sure. But think about how low effort that is for Nintendo. They've already got all these assets lying around.
Yeah.
It's probably not. It's a small development team probably that has to put it all together in such a way that you're messing with the other people's screens or whatever. And then it's like, we want $20 for this game or whatever it is that they're
Nintendo in a nutshell.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Tetris Battle Royale and the D-pad situation. No, well, not the D-pad situation, but the game.
Jack, you just had to work that in there, didn't you?
Well,
you saw an opportunity.
Well, of course. We seized the moment.
Whenever I go to Polygon, my most viewed article on my computer always goes there. It's talking about the Nintendo D-pad. I'm like, yes, I know. I don't need to see it every time I type Poly into the search bar.
Why don't you just clear your cache so you don't have to see it?
Because that's work.
That is
All right.
It's not enough of an issue to deal with it, but it still angers me every time I see it.
Oh.
Right.
Well, that just about does it, boys. That is another live connection podcast. Thanks for joining us. We actually had some people pop in and out, so that was pretty nice. Thanks for
Nice.
joining us. We are Live Connection. We have 2 YouTube channels now, so you can check out our other YouTube channel as well. We have our more gaming centered channel, and then our other channel is going to be some different stuff. It may be related to gaming, but it's not going to be it's not the same like Let's Plays and streaming games and stuff like that.
I've been looking at it. If it's on the internet, it's fair game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we are streaming again. We're streaming our Thursdays and Sundays. Our Sundays are our podcast always, and then we have Thursdays alternating Call of Cthulhu and a variety stream. Call of Cthulhu this week coming up, so tune in for that.
Yes.
We have some
Very,
big shit
excited.
happened in the last like little bit there in our Call of Cthulhu world. And then we have our Wasteland series recordings releasing. They're full play, so it's our first real attempt at doing like a full play of a game. It is interesting. It is a good one so far. Eric and I have been enjoying it. And yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. We will see you guys
Tune in next week.
Yeah,
for podcast 69.
69.
Ooh, 6'9".
See you guys.
Bye.